Is this dead? Oh, it died. And I don't have the charger for this. Doggone it. Hey y'all, I don't know what happened. YouTube just threw me out in the street. I don't know what happened. But anyway, as I was saying, I didn't know anything other than, you go in the classroom, you sit down, your hands are folded, and on your desk, you're quiet, you don't speak unless you're spoken to. When the priests come in the classroom, the boys were supposed to bow, the girls were supposed to curtsy. Good morning, Father so-and-so, or good morning, Sister so-and-so. I didn't know that I was supposed to learn math, or I didn't even know what math was. I didn't know anything about spelling, or I knew nothing when I went to school. I knew nothing. And that's why I didn't do very well from the first grade up to, I'd say, well, from the first, I couldn't add until I was in the third grade. Not well, put it that way. I couldn't add until I was in the second grade. I was able to add by the second grade. But I struggled in school. I always felt like I never knew what was going on. I never understood why everybody else understood what was going on and I didn't. My parents told me nothing. So that's why when I had my kids, I made it my business to give my kids a good head start. And my sons all knew how to read before they got into kindergarten. And when I say my sons knew how to read, I'm talking about they knew how to read the Washington Post and not just read words. They were able to comprehend. They could read a story from the Washington Post before they were even 6 years old, and they could tell you what the story was about. I made it my business. My kids were not going to be just left dangling and what am I doing here? And even if I don't know what I'm doing here, I still have an edge. And here's the thing. When my firstborn son got into school, they wanted to the principal there said, you're going to have him skipped because if you don't skip him, you're going to lose him. And I said to her, well, I don't mind skipping him, but I do have some concerns about, social issues if he's in a class with children who are just even a year older than he is. She said, well, we can help him transition and, we can make the recommendations to whatever school you want to go to. But if you do not put him in in an advanced class or skip him, you're going to lose him. And the only thing that bothered me was that when we did skip, well, he didn't skip, he started school early. When he was in first grade, he was only 5 years old. Everyone else was 6 and 7. And majority of the class couldn't read when he got to the first grade. And so what they wanted him to do was, excuse me, what they wanted him to do was they wanted him to read to the class. I'm like, you're not going to have my son babysit these students or read to these students. That's not what he needs. He needs to be challenged. And this is why we put him and made the recommendation. This is why his principal made the recommendation for him to go or to start school early or to be in the first grade at only 5 years old. So I just made it my business to make sure that my kids knew, listen, you're going to school. This is what you go to school for. This is what they do in school. This is what you'll be learning in school. And the biggest thing I tell people that you can help your kids with is teaching them how to study. I did not know how to study until I was in the 8th grade. And I had my English teacher teach me how to study. There is an art to how do you study. Okay, so like for instance, if you're taking history, you want to get all your vocabulary words first for the topic you're studying. So if you're doing a history studying um, the uh, on what on World War II, you want to get the dates. Sorry about that. So I taught my kids how to study. I taught them how to read. I taught them how to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and single column division. Okay? They were doing all of this before they even got into kindergarten. And this gave my kids an edge and a level of confidence. Need to plug my charger in. But this gave my kids an edge and a level of confidence that most of the other kids didn't have, because their parents didn't do these things with them, either because I guess they felt like, well, I'm going to leave it all up to the teacher. And that was the one thing I didn't want to do, was to leave my children's education solely up to the teacher. Because what if they don't like my kids? What if they don't like the way my kids look? What if they don't like the way my kids' feet smell? What if they don't like the lunch that I pack for them to come to school? What if? And that teacher just decides to ignore my child, because I got ignored in school, by teachers. They felt like, oh gosh, she's just dumb. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. Can you give me a little help? Can you give me a little extra? Because clearly no one told me anything. I'm not understanding, you know? So anyway, that's why I say don't have kids till you can have kids, when you can spend time with them, give them and nurture them with all that they're going to need to be successful in what they need to do. And all their responsibility is to clean their room and do their homework and get good grades. That's their job. So I understand now why people homeschool, and I think it's a great idea. It's too many distractions in the classroom, too much going on, too many personalities to have to deal with. But if your kids are in school, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. If you have to send your kids to school, just make sure that you are talking with them on a daily basis and finding out, hey, what's going on at school? Who's the problem? Who's not the problem? Just when my kids were young, I never put my kids to bed at 8 o'clock. They never had a bedtime. My kids went to bed usually by 11:30, midnight. Okay. But I never had a bedtime for them. And the reason being was that by the time I got home from work, 6, 7 o'clock, if I were to put them to bed at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, that meant we only got to spend 2 hours with each other. And at the time, that meant I had to divide my time between 2 children at that time. And everybody wants mommy and daddy's attention. And I felt like 2 hours just wasn't enough. So I always kept them up with me. And we were all like a bunch of puppies. Everybody had a television in their room. Everybody had their own room. Everybody had their own spaces. But we were like a bunch of puppies. If one of us was sitting on this chair right here, and this chair probably seats 2 people, okay? If one of us was sitting on this chair, we were all sitting on this chair, or 2 of us were sitting on the chair and everybody else was sitting on the floor. We were like a bunch of puppies. We were always huddled together in one spot. That's just how we were. That's how I wanted it. And I'm not saying that's how I wanted it and I forced people, forced my family to be that way. Everyone just gravitated to that one spot. If one of us was here, that's where we all were. I wasn't saying, no, you come in. No, I want you in here with me where I can watch you. Because I know those parents. That's not good. You're killing your kids. You're killing them. Sometimes they need to be alone and they need to contemplate their belly button sometimes, and let them be, So, but anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I do need to get my charger or else my phone is going to die. I want to say something because I changed my diet yet again in March of 2022, where I cut out rice, potatoes, let me back up. Let me say it this way. I cut out any type of sweeteners, whether it was table sugar, agave, dates, uh, beet sugar, turbinado, RX. I cut out all sweeteners. I don't do any type of sugar. I don't do any type of sweeteners. I cut out rice and potatoes. I cut out those types of foods because they're high carbohydrates and they cause, I'm sorry, they don't cause, but high carbohydrates turn into sugar when they metabolize in your body, right? So I'm trying to cut out the sugar for a number of reasons, some which were unknown to me at the time, okay? Take all these things. My body went through a major transition where I went through, I call it, now that I look back at it, I call it a detox. Because when I stopped eating sugar and all those things that metabolize into sugar, like rice and potatoes, when I stopped eating those things, my body went through a detox where every 30 minutes I had to pee. I had to urinate every 30 minutes. It was to the point where I was losing sleep at night. My bowel habits had changed, okay? I believe I had very good bowel habits when I was vegan. I would go twice, sometimes 3 times a day. However, now that I've stopped eating all the sugar, the rice, the pasta, the wheat, I forgot to mention that. Once I stopped eating those things, my body just started cleansing itself. And I mean, I am urinating all day, all night, up every 30 minutes to go to the restroom. My bowel habits changed to the point where I was only having one bowel movement a day. Now, look, if this bothers you, if you don't want to talk about this, if this grosses you out, that's okay. I understand. However, this is very important health information that I'm sharing, and I hope that you will benefit from it. That's why I'm sharing this with you. But my bowels changed, and it was a good change. But then something else happened because I had to change again. But let me just say this about letting go of sugar. Just watch the videos on YouTube. I got to go get my charger because my phone is about to die. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm back. So, doggone it. I forgot what I was talking about. Just that quick. Let me plug y'all up before I lose you for a second time. Oh, okay. I know what I'm saying. All right. There we go. So, is this plugged in? Yeah, it's plugged in, right? Okay. So, when I stopped eating sugar, my body went through a detox like I've never been through before because not only did I go from 227 pounds down to where I am now, 195, not only did I lose that weight. And I think that's like 30 pounds or so. And it happened very easily. And what I want to say about that, when I cut out the rice, the pasta, the potatoes, the wheat, certain beans, certain nuts, when I cut those things out, I didn't exercise not one time. And I'm not saying not to exercise. I'm not saying that. You need to exercise so that you can keep your heart healthy. You need to exercise so that you can have some type of stamina. You can keep your nerves calm and you can keep yourself peaceful. Okay? That's why I exercise. I exercise so that I can be a peaceful person because exercising relaxes me. But I didn't exercise at all during that time where I was releasing all of this fluid, all of these toxins, all of this fluid that was in my body for so long. Because here's what happened, or here's what happens when you eat a great deal of sugar. And sometimes we don't realize how much sugar we're eating. But when you're eating a lot of sugar, your glycogen stores, your cells hold on to fluid. Your kidneys hold on to fluid. Your body holds on to fluid. So, and this is why I tell people about this whole thing about drinking copious amounts of water or large amounts of water. You really shouldn't drink that amount of water if you're not sure that, look, if you drink 64 ounces of water, you need to make sure that you have peed out or urinated out 64 ounces of water. And there's ways to do so. You know that little, for women, that little, when you're in the hospital and they have to collect your urine, they put that little cup inside the toilet bowl. So every time you go in there. You can buy one of those and put it in the toilet and make sure, okay, if I drink 30 ounces of water today, there should be 30 ounces of urine in that receptacle at the end of the day, okay? So that's one way to find out. And if you're not urinating that amount of water out, then you definitely should not be drinking all of that water. It's more important for you to get nutrition than it is for you to get water. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink water. You should drink water when you're thirsty. You should have water as a first choice for a beverage. Okay? However, it's more important for your body to get nutrition than it is for you to get water. And I know people will say things like, well, I drink water to help fill me up before I eat a meal. Well, the idea is not to get full. The idea is to get nutrition. Your body cannot function properly if you don't have proper nutrition. Your body will not lose weight if you don't have the right components in place. Those components being your nutrients, your vitamins, your minerals. If the right vitamins and minerals and nutrients are not present in your body in the right amounts, you're not going to lose weight. You're not going to be healthy. You're not going to be well. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things, and a lot of your bodily functions are going to be compromised if you don't have proper nutrition. And when we're talking about nutrition, we all know that water has no nutritional value. There are no vitamins in water. There might be a few trace minerals, trace meaning very, very tiny amounts of minerals, okay? But you have to ensure that your body has proper nutrition, and drinking all that water is not the way to get nutrition. As a matter of fact, when you're drinking all that water, if you're urinating out what you took in, you're actually flushing nutrients out every time you urinate. And most importantly, you're flushing out electrolytes. Electrolytes are what keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your kidneys functioning. Okay? Everything that your central nervous system does for you, your electrolytes are responsible for those impulses that sends those messages that say, okay, she needs to take another breath now. Okay? Her kidneys need to start filtering her urine now. Her liver needs to start filtering her food. Okay? Now we need to put the bile out. Now we need to send the insulin up because she keeps eating all this sugar. Okay? Insulin spikes, insulin, and Each time you take in something that's a high carbohydrate or a high sugar, your insulin spikes. And the more your insulin spikes, the more insulin you require. And the more insulin you put out, the more potential you have, the more potential you have to be sick. Okay? And to have something called insulin resistance and or diabetes. I had to go through it to learn it. I had to go through it to learn it. But when I changed my diet, I went through a transformation where my body was ridding itself of a lot of what was stored up in my glycogen stores. Your glycogen stores are the cells that hold on to glucose until you're ready to use it as energy. Okay? And if you're sitting around all day eating sugar, okay, and you're not exercising, then that sugar sits in your cells. That sugar, I believe, hardens your cells. And when those cells get hard, rock hard, like a lollipop, okay, very little can travel through, in and out, back and forth through that cell if it's rock hard. If it's hard as a lollipop. Let me go to the question, hold on, or the comment. Nutrients that need to flow in and out of your cells can't flow in and out because you've got all this sugar stored up in the cells of your body that you didn't use. Those glycogen stores are supposed to hold on to sugar until you're ready to use it for energy. But if you're not exerting any energy, if you're not exercising, that sugar stays in your cells and those cells get hard. And that's why there are people who don't absorb nutrition properly. Okay? When people say they are B12 deficient, but they eat meat. People who are B12 deficient, but they're taking B12 supplements, but yet they're still deficient. It's most likely because they're eating a lot of they're eating a lot of high carbohydrates. They're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of rice, a lot of pasta, breads, cakes, cookies, pies, all these things that metabolize into sugar or are sugar are now stored up into their cells. That sugar stores in their cells. So now when you do eat food that has your nutrients in it, the nutrients can't get into the cell. The body can't absorb those nutrients because your cells are full of a couple of things: fluid and sugar. And if the cells are inundated with sugar, those cells are hard. And if something is hard and not permeable, like this glass bottle, if something is hard, how's the nutrition supposed to be absorbed into the cell? I had to learn it the hard way. I had to go through it myself. Now I understand. Now I know why. Not only was I across the board iron deficient, but I had an issue with the MCH, the MCHC, iron saturation. What's the other thing? Iron saturation and absorption. My cells couldn't take it in. So that's why I had to take the iron and the Vitron C. And if that didn't work, they were going to have to start doing iron infusions for me, which I'm glad I didn't have to do because I understand getting iron infusions is pretty painful stuff. So I was fortunate to not have to go through that. But anyway, I just feel like I went through a big not transformation, but I went through a great detox when I got off of the bread. Well, let's just say wheat. Anything made with wheat, which would be pasta, bread, cakes, pies, cookies, cobblers, all that stuff. Anything that has wheat flour, bleached, unbleached, whatever. Especially the bleached flour, because there's something called alulin in bleached flour that causes type 1 diabetes in people. The chemical that they use to bleach the flour with causes something called aluminum. I'm saying it wrong, I know I am. Aluminum to develop in the body, and that aluminum causes people to develop type 1 diabetes. Yeah. Like I said, I had to go through this to learn this. I had to go through this to know this, you know? And all this time while I'm getting rid of all this excess fluid that's been in my body for so long. Now, I don't want to say I've had fluid in my body for, well, you know what? Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because I hear people say that they have fecal matter that's been in their bowels, in their intestines for years. If you had fecal matter that had been in your intestine for years, you would have a hole in your guts. You would have some sort of stomach cancer, because you can't have fecal matter in your body that long and not have something eating away at your intestines, you know. You'd have to have GERD, you'd have to have what's the other, there's two other diseases I can't call. Diverticulitis, something like that, you know, where something is causing pockets or holes. Leaky gut syndrome, where something is causing pockets and holes in your gut. Okay? Or worse yet, cancer. All right? That's what I think of. If someone has fecal matter in their guts for years, no. But anyway, I'm not here to debate that. But I just want to say that getting rid of those factors out of my diet helped me to get rid of all that sugar that was stored up in my glycogen stores, helped me to get rid of all this excess fluid that I was carrying around. Okay? I know some of the weight that I lost was fluid. That's just the facts. That's just what it was. So, oh, hold on. I saw some comments. Hold on. You know what? I got glasses. What did I do with them? Hold on. Jovetta's Kitchen. Oh, I like that name, Jovetta. That's pretty. Jovetta's Kitchen. Wow, I got it late. That's true. Hello, how are you doing? Hey, Kendrick, how are you? I'm great. Thank you for asking. It's good to see both of you here. Oh, wow, this is nice. I've seen a lot of my favorite people here tonight. So, I'm just saying that, you know, getting rid of those factors from my diet has helped me a lot. And I am good here. That's good, Kendrick. Okay. Getting rid of those factors from my diet has really, really helped me. And I say that because of something that I did last night. I did a video about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about, oh my gosh, was it 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, but anyway, that doesn't matter. I wanted a piece of toast so bad. I wanted to just have a piece of bread that I bought a toaster, okay? I haven't owned a toaster. Oh my God, my husband and I have been married for almost 37 years. I don't think we've had a toaster since we've been married. We don't eat toast like that. We don't eat bread like that. But I wanted a piece of toast because, after all, I haven't been eating cookies, pies, cakes, breads, buns, nothing made with flour, okay? I wanted a piece of bread so bad. I wanted a piece of bread so bad. I went out and I bought a toaster. And I followed this woman's recipe on how to make some keto bread, right? Bread that's not made with wheat. This bread was made with, it was almond flour. And it was horrible. But I think she misspoke in giving the directions, and that's what made it horrible. But I just didn't want to waste my time or my resources in making it again. So I just didn't bother to make it. But I was so disappointed. I was ready to take that piece of bread, slice it, put it in the toaster, and all I wanted was some butter on that piece of toast and just to eat that piece of toast and not get sick, not feel bad, not have anything crazy happen to me, where I'm in bed for the next week or something like that, because that's kind of where I am. If I eat things that I'm not supposed to eat, that's where I end up. I'm in bed for a week. So I made the bread. It was horrid. It was awful. It tasted terrible. I never even got to the point where I put the butter on it and put it in the toaster. I never even got to that point, right? So I'm the type of person, I have this personality where if you tell me I can't have something, I'm going to show you I'm going to get it. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to show you I'm going to do it, right? That's just my personality. And so last night, I got it together in my head because I'm still thinking about this bread. Even from the night that I failed making that bread, I'm still thinking about it. How am I going to get this bread? How am I going to do this? I had to pick the type of flour I was going to use. And I'm so sick of almond flour, I don't know what to do. I I I I don't mind it when I do when I do my almond fried chicken. I don't mind it then. But I just didn't want to do almond flour. So I said, you know what? Oatmeal happens to be one of my favorite foods, and I have not had oatmeal in, I think it's been a year, maybe 2 years. I think it's been 2 years since I've had oatmeal. And I was the type of person, I would eat oatmeal every day and I could eat it all day and eat nothing else and be perfectly satisfied. So I said, you know what? I haven't had oatmeal in a while. That's going to be my flour. So I got my food processor down, and I put my flour in there. I grinded down the oatmeal into a nice fine flour, and then I sifted the flour. And then I started working my magic, baby. I got myself some yogurt, some butter extract, baking powder, and some half and half. Mixed it all together, and I made a very pasty looking it wasn't a batter. It was a sticky pasty dough. It was very sticky dough. And then I put the parchment paper into the pan, put the dough into the pan. It was real sticky, very pasty. Put it in the oven 400 degrees. It started to cook, but it didn't look like anything I wanted to eat. But I let it cook. I wasn't even sure how to cook it because this was something I concocted in my own mind. And what I did was I said, I'm going to use my old honey butter dinner roll recipe. Okay, I think it's still on my channel. I'm going to use that recipe, but I'm just going to use, in place of the flour, of the wheat flour, I'm going to use oatmeal flour that I made and sifted myself. And I said, this is how I'm going to make this bread. Wasn't even sure how long it should have been in the oven, and I wasn't even sure what temperature to set the oven at. I set the oven at 400 degrees, and I let it cook for about 25 minutes. Then I let it cool. I softened some butter. I'm thinking about it right now. I softened some butter, and I cut that bread after it had cooled off. It was soft. That bread melted in my mouth. I took some of that softened butter, did this here, took that piece of bread, put it in the toaster, and toasted that piece of bread. I made myself a cup of tea. I bit into that piece of bread. And then I got another slice. And then I got another slice. And then I got another slice. I had 5 pieces of bread, toasted, buttered, dipped into my tea, like I used to do it when I was a little girl. My hot buttered toast dipped in my tea. That bread was so good. It was so delicious. I put it in the trash and carried it out to the garbage can. I sure did. I sure did. I also am of the personality that if I know something is going to cause me a problem like that, I won't bring it in the house. I won't have it. Now, I still bring hamburger buns in here for my husband and daughter because once, maybe every 2 weeks, we have hamburger. No, like once a week, we have hamburgers, right? So I'll bring hamburger buns in for them. But I don't want to eat those hamburger buns because it's got sugar and it's got all these other additives and stuff I don't want to be bothered with because I know it's going to cause me a problem. So I don't have a problem bringing that in the house. But something that I know I can eat and that it's not going to get me sick, it's not going to cause me any adverse reactions, I'll wear it out. So I took that bread and I put it in the trash. I videoed it. Oh, I'm on the phone, so I can't show it to you. I videoed me making this bread, but I don't want no remnants of the recipe, although I got it up here. I don't want any remnants of the recipe. I don't want to make that bread again because here's what I'm not going to do. All right. I came from 265 pounds, okay, down to 195 pounds, and then went back up to 227. And at 227, I said, I got to do something. I'm not comfortable. I want to be healthy. That's first and foremost. So I did what I did with stopping the sugar, the rice, the pasta, the wheat, and all of that. I did what I did. And I said, there is no way in this world that I am going to sabotage where I've come from to where I am right now. I am not going to sit here in this house and eat a half a loaf of bread just to send me back up the scale. I'm not going to do it. Y'all go ahead and enjoy your bread. If you like bread, eat your bread. Put the butter on it. Put the honey on it. Put the homemade strawberries and blueberries on it. Oh, and let me tell you what I did with the last piece of bread I had. Let me tell you what I did with that. I made a bananas Foster or banana flambe, whatever you want to call it. And then I slathered the bananas Foster, the bananas flambe on top of that last piece of bread. Then I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a problem when I slathered that bananas Foster on top of that bread like that. And the bread had been toasted and it was crunchy. Oh, Lord. I'm not doing it. You will not get me to sabotage my diet. You will not get, and it's not, I don't want to say I'm on a diet because right now I'm not. I'm just eating what I can eat right now. That's all I'm doing. I'm eating what I can eat. There are things I can no longer consume without being in bed sick for 3 days to a week. Okay? It happened last week. Sure did. I was in bed for a week. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I figured it out and I fixed it quick. Because I didn't like feeling that way. So, but on that last piece of toast, I didn't put butter on it this time. I took the bananas Foster and slathered it all across that last piece of toast. And it was so good. Oh my God. The bananas were so sweet. And the bananas were caramelized and chewy and sweet and creamy. And oh gosh. I can't talk about this no more. Yep, that was the best bread. Listen, I used to love oatmeal bread. I used to buy Pepperidge Farm oatmeal bread. Okay? What I made last night, Pepperidge Farm would never, ever have the pleasure of selling what I made unless they purchased my recipe. No, I'm just kidding. But oh my goodness, I used to love Pepperidge Farm oatmeal bread. If you've never had that bread before, if you've never had oatmeal bread before, you got to try Pepperidge Farm oatmeal bread. Better yet, don't try Pepperidge Farm oatmeal bread. There's plenty of oatmeal bread recipes on YouTube. I'm not putting mine up there because I don't think I have very many sweets recipes on my channel anymore because I'm not encouraging people to eat that way. All right? I'm not encouraging people to eat rice and pasta and potatoes and wheat and all these things that cause inflammation, cause swelling in our body, cause our bodies to hold on to water that we should be releasing on the daily, cause our bodies to hold on to sugar that we should be exerting into energy. But when we take that sugar in and then we don't exercise, that sugar stays in the cells and hardens the cells. And then we wonder why we have certain deficiencies. We wonder why we're not absorbing certain nutrients because our cells are hardening from the sugar that should have been exerted out when we exercised, when we ate that sugar in the first place. See? So the moral of the story is if you're going to eat sugar, you got to exercise and you got to exercise hard. Okay? If you're not going to exercise, you have no business eating sugar. You have no business eating anything that metabolizes into sugar. We get enough sugar from the other foods that we eat. And when you think about when Jesus walked the earth, okay, when Yeshua HaMashiach walked this earth, they weren't spooning sugar into their coffee and into their drinks and into their tea like we do today. I'm sure they had things that they used as sweeteners, but they weren't using what's known as sugar, which if you watch the documentaries on YouTube or if you read the books about sugar and the dangers of sugar and how sugar is considered a drug, as bad as cocaine or heroin. And they sell it right at your grocery store. And anybody can go get it. No picture ID needed. Just go get it. You can't even buy certain cough medicines without showing your driver's license. But you can pick up that sugar. And they don't mind. You know why? Because as long as you're eating that sugar, you're going to stay sick. And as long as we're sick, cha-ching, they making money. Right? So, anyway. I went through something. I went through a major detox. I got rid of a lot of fluid. I got rid of a lot of sugar that was causing me problems in my kidney. My back would hurt, and I didn't understand why it was hurting. My lab work would come back with high levels of creatinine in my blood, and I didn't know why. See, it's a domino effect. People don't realize that I forget whether it's the kidney disease that causes diabetes or diabetes that causes kidney disease. I forget which way it goes, but it's either that kidney disease causes diabetes or diabetes causes kidney disease. Either way is bad. Okay, either way it's bad. And I was in denial about the beginning stages of, what do you call that? Pre-diabetes. I was in denial. I was. I wasn't ready to admit that. I couldn't understand it. I'm like, how am I pre-diabetic? I don't get it. How am I having issues with my kidneys? Nobody in my family had issues with their kidneys. No one. Not on my mother's side, my father's side. Nobody. Well, wait, I have one cousin, Larry, who had issues with his kidney. But nobody else. Nobody else had issues with diabetes or thyroid issues. I had issues with my thyroid at one point. When the body's not absorbing proper nutrition from the foods that we eat, your body's going to start to break down. And this is how we get all these illnesses. So, and the other thing, let me tell you, this is the other thing I wanted to tell you. I even got pictures. When I found out I could not eat fruit, certain sweet fruits, with that particular diet that I started back in March, I said, I got to be able to have something sweet. So I started eating these strawberry and banana flambés, right? And I noticed that after dinner some nights, I would start itching. My hands would start itching. My fingers would start itching. And the palms of my hands would itch so bad they would be really, really red, right? They're not red now, but, well, they're pink like they're supposed to be. But my hands would start itching, especially the backs of my fingers, right? And so there were two things that I was eating, and one that I suspected had sugar, and that was the coconut aminos that I was using. And I said, I bet you there's sugar in it. I know there's sugar in that coconut aminos. And sure enough, there was like 7 grams of sugar in the coconut aminos. And I noticed every time I ate something and I used the coconut aminos, I'd start itching. So I eliminated that. And as soon as I eliminated that, I was peaceful. But every time I ate a meal and it had coconut aminos in it, in 10 minutes, I'd start up. My hands would start itching. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, and I go upstairs, I get a cold washcloth and I just rub and rub and rub. And it's like you could never, ever stop the itch. The more you rubbed it, the more it itched. And so as soon as I stopped the coconut aminos, I couldn't believe how calm I was after dinner. Nothing was itching. Nothing was bothering me. Okay, so then I was doing the banana. I started out, I think, doing bananas and peaches. And something said, don't do the bananas and peaches. The peaches are too sweet. So something said, do bananas and strawberries. So I was doing bananas and strawberries for a while. And then it started. I started itching again. But this time, my eczema was flaring. It was getting bad. I got pictures. Oh, darn it. This pad is dead. And this is the wrong plug for this pad, I think. Hold on. Is at the end. I don't want to get up again, but I got to run upstairs to get the plug for that. But I was doing the strawberries and bananas, and I was eating it every day. Sometimes I was eating it twice a day. All right, the strawberries and bananas. That was the only thing that I could eat that was sweet, and it was like I felt like something was missing, and I felt like I had to eat these strawberries and bananas every day. Now, even when I was vegan, even when I was starting out on keto, I never had to have dessert every day, after every dinner, after every meal. But I guess I felt like so much had been eliminated from my diet when I started doing this, no sugar, no pasta, no wheat. I felt like so much had been eliminated. I felt like, gosh, I should at least be able to have bananas and strawberries. So I'm eating these bananas and strawberries, and it was to the point where, like, the moment I put the strawberries and bananas in my mouth, I'd start itching. And then it was to the point where when I started cutting the strawberries, because I would always cut up the strawberries to put in the flambe before I cooked it. As soon as the strawberries touched my hands would start itching. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you really trying to tell me that just the strawberry juice touching my hands is really causing me a problem? So I was in denial. And I just kept cutting the strawberries. And every time I cut strawberries, I'd start itching. So I was doing everything I could. I was doing oatmeal packs on my hands. I was using the avocado oil, and it just wasn't healing. It was not getting better, right? I suspected that it was either the strawberries or bananas, but I highly suspected it was the strawberries. So something said, "Look, just you can go one night without strawberries. What is wrong with you? You can go one night without strawberries." So that one night I went and I didn't do the strawberries and I didn't do the bananas either. And I could not believe the calm that I felt after dinner, because every time after dinner, we all sit at the table. All the food is on the table. My strawberries flambe is on the table, you know. And as soon as I got finished eating my dinner, I would just, get the dish and just start eating the strawberry banana flambe, right? And as soon as I would start eating it, I would start itching. And I almost looked for it to happen. I know it wasn't just because I was thinking about it. It was because it was really causing me a problem. Because the very night where I decided, look, you can go a night without having this. You've been doing. I didn't start eating strawberries and bananas until 2022, March of 2022. Okay, so I'm like, you've been doing without it. You can do without it for one night. That one night I went without it, I was so calm. I was so peaceful and serene after dinner. I could not even believe it. So I went the next night. No strawberries and bananas. I was calm. There was no itching. There was nothing. Okay? So I said, okay, it's either the strawberries or bananas, but I really think it's the strawberries. So the next night I made just the bananas by itself. And I'm going to show y'all how I made it because I perfected this recipe. It's so good. You guys will love this banana flambe, okay? Anyway, that first night where I just ate the bananas and no strawberries, I was just as calm and peaceful. No itching, no rubbing, no nothing. And all this time I'm doing oatmeal packs. I'm doing all this because before, when my eczema had flared up, I was doing oatmeal packs, and it within 2 to 3 weeks, I was fine. It was healed. It was okay. But this time, my skin just wasn't having it because there was an irritant, and I had to figure out what my irritant was, what it was that was setting me off, what was causing my eczema to flare. You have to find out what your flares are because sometimes it's going to be different things for different people, somebody might work in a glue factory and the glues that they use or make are causing them to have, contact dermatitis. Every time they come in contact with that glue, they start itching or whatever. And for me, it was the strawberries. I don't know if it's the strawberries so much as maybe it is the pesticides, the herbicides, the fungicides, the uh, rodenticides that they spray on our fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, seeds, legumes. All these things that they spray on our foods. I don't know if it's the pesticides, the insecticides, or if it was actually the fruit. All I know is that when I don't eat the strawberries, I don't itch. So for I'd say about almost 3 weeks now, I have not done strawberries, and my hands are healing. My fingers are healing. My fingers were this color. My fingers were black, just like that. Now I'm starting to get the color back. See, that's the back of my hand. My fingers are almost the same color as the back of my hands. And I took pictures. I just need to get the other charger, but I want to finish talking about what I'm talking about because I did talk about making some changes to my channel. And I mentioned that, and I probably should have led with that. But I was thinking now that I'm 60, I was thinking that I wanted to change my channel. And it's nothing big. It's nothing major. It's, you know. So I hope I didn't make it seem like it was going to be this great big major change. I don't think it's going to be anything big. But I wanted to change my channel name, and I was thinking about maybe changing it to 60 Fresh and Sassy. Fresh 60 and Sassy, something like that. I don't know. And then I wanted to do a nice intro and maybe an outro for my channel. And then maybe really doing some content where, listen, we're 60, okay? And we should be here riding this bad boy till the wheels fall off, okay? Until Yahweh says it's time to come home. So I wanted to have a channel where I take you all to do things that we should and can be doing now that we don't have any kids in the house. Many of us are retired, you know. Some of us are still working, and I look at it this way: what you gonna retire for? You know, what you gonna retire? What you gonna do? Sit at home and play with your belly button all day? I have nothing bad to say about anybody who chooses to work, okay? Because it's like, what you gonna do? Sit at home all day? Buy yourself a ball and play with a ball all day? Throw the ball up against the wall all day? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And so I want to get out. I want to do some things. I'm going to be doing some traveling. I'm waiting for my passport patiently, anxiously. We went and got our passports on December 24th, and they say it takes 6 to 9 weeks to get them. They say you'll get your birth certificate back first because they have to take your original birth certificate unless you get it done right in the office because you're traveling the next day. Then you can have it back right then and there. But we hadn't made any plans to go anywhere yet. But we went and got our passports December 24th, and we have to wait 6 to 9 weeks to get them back. So I'm going to be doing something, going somewhere. I know where I want to go. I know where I got to go. I know what has been calling me for the last at least 2 years. Okay. And I think for those of you that know me and have been watching my channel, I don't know if that's home for me or not because we've been lied to so much about where we come from and where we are from, where we're not from, and you know these tests that they give you. Oh yeah, you're part this. Yeah, you're from over there. You know, Yahweh forbid. You know, we be from here and find out that this was actually our land. You know, I think a lot of people would be really a little nervous. But anyway, I think people are getting kind of nervous anyway. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But I do know that I'm going to the motherland where they say civilization was started. Okay, I am taking a trip there. There's so many places I want to go there. I want to go to Lagos. I want to go to Abuja. I want to go to Banana Island. I want to go to Nairobi, Kenya. I want to go to Johannesburg, South Africa. I want to go to, I don't know if I want to go to Ghana. I don't know. Got my feelings about Ghana, but I don't know because that could be a lie too. So anyway, I do want to take that trip. So I want to do a channel where I inspire other women our age to just trek out there and just live your life. What else you gonna do? Because what I can't do, what I won't do is just sitting here all day, you know, running back and forth to the grocery store. And listen, I'm not a modern woman. I will never be a modern woman. My place is in the kitchen. My place is in the laundry room. My place is here in the home, making a clean and habitable, comfortable space and place for my husband and for my family that wants to be here. Because, yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I believe. And anyway, I don't have to explain the rest of that. So, anyway, so I want to do some things like, why don't you consider taking a trip to this place here? There's one in Europe where you live, and you know, just going out and just doing some things and then presenting them here. I guess in a vlog type of format, where I went, what I did. You can do it too, type of thing. Um, so that's what I was thinking about in terms of making a change. Number one, changing the name to 60 Fresh and Sassy, or 60 Sassy and Fresh, or something like that. Something fresh, something sassy, and something 60, okay? So that was the first change. And then, maybe having an intro and an outro. Um, and then taking you some places that I go. Now, I've done this a couple of times, when we went down Hilton Head, and then when we went to the skydiving place. It's an indoor skydive kind of a thing. So yeah, that was part of the change I was thinking about making. So I got notes because I wanted to remember to tell you everything. I told you about that oatmeal bread that I threw away. It was, oh God, it was so good. It was so good. And the crunch. The crunch. And then the bananas. You know what? I got to stop talking about that because I will go down there and make another loaf of bread. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Matter of fact, I might take that box of oatmeal and donate it. Yep. Take it right down to the shelter, because as long as it's here and that box of oatmeal is looking at me, because otherwise I don't have any reason. I'm not gonna make any oatmeal to eat. I'm not. Well, I might, but I bet you I'll put that banana flambe into my oatmeal too. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to sabotage, my progress thus far. So I don't want to sabotage my progress, and I want to stay healthy. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. And I'm not going to sabotage my progress thus far. Nope, not going to do it for me. Not going to do it for anybody. Not going to sabotage my progress. But I will tell you that it contained oat flour, bananas, cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, coriander, 1 egg, yogurt, butter, oil. I'm sorry, not butter and oil. I use butter. You can use oil if you want to. Your favorite oil, your favorite butter, whatever. And I saw some channels where they were putting raisins in the bread too. Raisins are too sweet for me. I can't eat raisins. I don't like dates. Dates make me angry because I don't know what's happening with dates. It's like it's supposed to be hard, then it's like soft, and it's too sweet, and I don't know. Something about dates makes me angry. I can't eat them. It's too much. So, I gave you the ingredients. I could probably give you measurements. I can give you measurements right now. It would be 4 cups of oatmeal flour, 2 cups of milk, 2 teaspoons of butter extract, and that's what made it taste so buttery, and it tasted so buttery, and then it melted in your mouth. Oh my gosh, it was so good. What else? Use your spices to taste. You might like just a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, of coriander. I might want a teaspoon and a half. So you have to know your spices and season your bread accordingly. But those spices are going to be very key and very important in how good your bread tastes as well too. So choose your spices well. I use coriander, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, and that was it. 4 cups of flour, 1 small banana, whip it, beat it, okay, and 1 egg. I put in about a half a cup of yogurt, and it should be very pasty and thick and kind of, it should be not wet, but just, it should be a very sticky dough. Heavy, sticky dough. Okay? and then bake it. I baked it. What is going on? I baked it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. I don't know. It must be something in this room. I don't know if the air filter needs to be changed. All of a sudden, my sinuses have not given me a problem in 2 weeks. It sounds like something is in my throat. I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's dust in this room. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I am almost done. Oh, wait. I think I saw some more. Did I see some more comments? Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. I missed so many comments. Hold on. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry, you guys. Look at all the comments. Wait a minute. Let me put my glasses on. Is that going to help? Okay, yeah. "37 years. Wow, I am 32." Yeah. We've been married longer than you've been here. When I stopped eating carbs, my hair started falling out. Oh my gosh, I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Nikki Naganaki. Oh my goodness, I have not seen you in so long. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, Nikki. You look so beautiful. Thank you. I do make a gluten-free muffin with Bob's Red Mill. Yeah, I like a lot of the products that Bob's Red Mill makes. I like a lot of the products, and I really like his company and his ideal for sharing portions of his business with his employees. Um, Kendrick says I'm making him hungry. Oh, you enjoy your meal. I'm 69 most of the time. I'm working in the I'm 69 most of the time. I'm working in the garden and other things and use a lot of energy. See, that's good. There's no reason to stop moving. You got to listen. I heard someone say the other day, how did she say? Sitting kills, walking heals. Sitting kill. It was actually the person I heard say it was Annette Larkins. She made a video talking about where she had been. Her husband's been ill, and she was saying she has to stay vibrant for him so that she can provide care for him. And that's when I heard her say that sitting kills, walking heals. Keeping that body moving. You got to keep all them juices. You got to keep all them juices, all that plasma, all that blood, all that lymphatic fluid. You got to keep all that, all them juices. That's a lot of juice between the plasma, the blood, the lymphatics, fluids. You got to keep all that moving, all that circulating in order for this to be healthy. And if things are blocked up and locked up because of sugar has hardened your cells or caused, there's this thing where you get these cysts on your kidneys. Cyst is something cystic something where you get it's just you get like little ball knots or balls that are filled with fluid all over your kidneys. It's cystic something. And that's when fluid gets caught in the kidneys that can't get out. Glycogen, sugar gets stored up in there that shouldn't be in there like that and causes us problems. We got to keep it moving. We got to keep it moving. No time to sit down now. Look, when they close us up in that box, we'll have an eternity to rest. We'll have an eternity to lay down. So while I'm here, I make sure I get my at least 7 hours. Because sometimes it's difficult for me to stay asleep for, full 8 hours. I'll wake up every 4 hours, and then I'll go to sleep, wake up in 4 hours, and then I make myself stay in the bed. If I make myself stay in the bed, I'll fall asleep, and I'll sleep another 3, maybe 4 hours. So I get about 7 hours of sleep, and I know I could be doing a lot better. I could get like 8 to 10, and that would be optimal. That would be best if I could do that. Um, but after that, I'm up. I'm at 'em. I'm doing what I got to do. And it's just so important to just keep it moving. Because like I said, when we leave here, we're going to have plenty of time for this body. This is what you see here. This body to be laying down. But while I'm here, I'm going to keep it moving. Okay? All right. Hold on. Let me get back to, let me put my glasses on so I can see. Okay. This year I am going to travel a lot. That's good, Kendrick. And you know what? You are in the perfect position to do so. I would like to have a job like that. I would love to have your job. I do a nonprofit on my other channel. We help feed the hungry. Oh, Giovanna, that's so nice. You go, girl. Sounds fun. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. One year, I did a video of what we do sometimes where we make lunch bags, and one year we did a video on this channel where, and I wasn't really trying to say look what I do. That's not why I did it. I was hoping that people would see how easy it is to actually do that. I mean, I wasn't eating very healthy then, so I really didn't realize what I was doing, but we packed lunches for them, and we packed like chicken sandwiches, turkey sandwiches. We did put fruit in the bag, so that was one good thing. But I know that deli sliced meat now. I didn't know then, but I know now that it's not good for us to consume. But um I didn't realize how easy it was to put those bags together. Um to just, I mean, we did, I think we fed like, for lunch, we must have fed like 70 people for lunch, and it was a lot of food. It was like a sandwich, it was fruit, it was a Starbucks coffee, some water, and then there was like this little pack with cheese and crackers. Not the cheese and crackers where you dip the stick. That wasn't real cheese. This was real cheese and a real nice grate of crackers. Um, and we put some, I think we put a candy bar in there, but it was a lot of food in this bag. And it was really a lot easier than what we thought it was going to be. We had to bleach the counters and clean the counters. I felt like we had to do that. And we worked with our gloves on. We didn't touch anything except for the food, while we were working. We didn't, put the gloves on and then touch the mop and then the trash can and then touch the food. We made sure that, we had like a station set up, and it was like an assembly line. And it was so much fun working that assembly line in our kitchen. It was fun, it was rewarding, and it was just so nice to know that this was so easy that I could do it again and again and again and again. And that was the reason why I did the video, because I wanted people to see it's a lot easier than what you might think it's not. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, you got to go get this, you got to go get that. Well, you get a pack of the lunch meat, or you get a whole chicken and slice the chicken, up and make chicken sandwiches. That is a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. Put it that way. It was a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. And when I saw how easy it was, I was like, I want people to see you can do this too. And if you feed 50 people, and if I feed 50 people, we can really make an impact, and we can really do what we're supposed to be doing for one another. And that is being in service for one another. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we're supposed to be doing here, in case you didn't know. We are to be in service for each other. There's something in this room. I have not been congested in weeks, and I don't know why. I feel like something is stuck in my throat. I don't know. But this is my daughter's workroom, and there's a lot of yarn in here. If y'all can see how much yarn was in this room, it's crazy. But anyway, what else did I have to tell you? I always write things down because I think I'm going to forget the main talking points that I wanted to speak on. But as it turns out, I always bring exactly what I wanted to bring. Now, there's two more things I want to bring to you. Actually, three. One, I want to show you the before pictures of what my hands look like before now, and what the strawberries did to me. And again, I don't know if it was the strawberries or if it was all the insecticide, pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, all these things they spray on our fruits and vegetables. I don't know if it was those things or if it was actually the strawberries. I don't know. So I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer. I'm not saying it was one or the other. I don't know which one it was, but I know I can't eat those strawberries, okay? But I wanted to show you the before and after picture, and then I have some things here I want to share with you. And I want to tell you about something that might save you some money. Let me tell you about the money thing first. We had a situation here. We've had a couple of situations here. Number one, we had a pipe burst. Remember the first cold snap we had? We had a pipe burst down in the basement. Just so happened my husband had gone down there because he had looked out the window and he saw some water pooling on the side of the house. And he went down in the basement and there was water in the crawl space. So we had to get a plumber in here. And I was scared because I thought this man was going to charge us $2,000 or something crazy, something astronomical. And he only charged us $270. Thanks be to Yahweh. Oh, I'm so thankful. And it took him every bit of 30 minutes to fix the pipe. Ha! I'm thinking this man gonna be here forever. He's gonna be charging us, this astronomical amount of money, and it was okay. It worked out. Thanks be to Yahweh. But then the next thing that happened was this. Back in August, and this is where we saved some money, and that's why I want to tell you about this. Back in August, we noticed that our lights were flickering, and I had heard a couple of people on YouTube talking about their lights flickering and their lights turning off, having blackouts, right? Well, we were just having flickering lights, right? And so we called them in August and reported the flickering lights. And they said, well, we'll send someone out. We called them twice. No one came. Third time we called them. The lights are still flickering. You said someone was coming out here twice. No one has come. They sent someone. He goes in the backyard and he was back there all of 30 seconds. He comes back. He says, well, everything looks good to me. I'm like, did you really go in the backyard? Because I didn't see you go back there. He was like, yeah, I went back there. I saw you got a planter over there by that tree. You got this, you got that. I was like, okay, he went back there because he's telling me what was back there. But he went back there real quick, and then he came back to the front of the house, right? So he said, no, everything looks good to me. Everything looks tight. Everything looks good, right? That's okay. So then lights kept flickering. Now, recently, within the last 2 weeks, the lights have gone off on average 3 times a day. Which means, because our house is so old, our house was built in 1905. Our house is over 100 years old. And at one time, this house was an apartment. And because it was an apartment, there are separate electrical boxes for each apartment. There were 3 apartments here. There's 2 electrical boxes in the basement, and then there's an electrical box up in the attic, right? So every time the lights would go off, and the lights were only going off in half the house. Half the house would be on, the other half of the house would be off, right? So my husband would have to go downstairs in the basement, throw the main switch on the box, turn off all the buttons, wait 30 seconds, turn on all the buttons, and then throw the main switch. He had to do this 3 times, twice in the basement, once in the attic. So doing this 3-4 times a day was getting a little bit aggravating to him because he works from home. And he's got to have electricity to charge certain things, and keep things charged because it's just the way it is. So he was tired of running back and forth up and down the steps 3 and 4 times a day. He's trying to do a meeting and he's got to be up and down the steps while he's talking on the phone and trying to throw switches. And so he was getting frustrated. So one night the electricity went off, and this is the scary part. Here's the creepy part. One night the electricity went off, and we called our supplier, BG&E, and we told the lady that everything was off this time. Wasn't just half the house. Everything was off. And so she said, well, what I need you to do is go down to the basement, throw the main switch, turn off all the small switches, wait 30 seconds, and then throw the main switch back on again, right? So my husband did that. But before he did it, this is what scared me. Before he did that, she said to me, yeah, I can tell. First your kitchen lights went off, and then your master bedroom lights went off. I'm like, you know which lights are off and in which sequence they went off in? I'm like, and see, there was this letter that went around our neighborhood that said that they needed to get in our houses to change some kind of battery or something. And I was very suspicious about this whole changing of the battery. I'm like, are y'all really changing batteries, or what are y'all doing? What you doing, Willis? Right? And so I failed to respond to their request to get into the house. So they sent us another letter and said, if you don't let us in the house, we're going to cut off your power. I don't take kindly to... Anyway, we had set up an appointment for them to come here. And I told my husband, when they get here, I want you to stay with them and watch what they do. And he pulled something out and he replaced it with something else. And so it was just a little strange to me that this lady knew your master bedroom lights and your this was the first time that the lights went off at night, because usually it was during the day. And the first time the lights went off at night, it was just the master bedroom and the kitchen lights that had gone out. She said, yeah, I can see your master bedroom and your kitchen lights are off. And I just thought that was creepy. She knew exactly what was off and where in my home. Like she was standing at the panel, like she was standing in my kitchen and master bedroom. I just thought that was a little creepy. So then the next time the electricity went off at night, everything went off. And she told us, you got to do the same thing again. I'm going to send a ping. Those were her words. She said, I'm going to send a ping to your home, and you should be able to turn everything back on. Now, another time this happened, it was during the day. It was 2:30 in the afternoon, and I'm telling you the time because it's pertinent, right? All the electricity went off at 2:30 in the afternoon. We called them up, told them everything was off. Well, no, wait. I take that back. That's not what happened. Partial outage. Lights were flickering first, and then there was a partial outage. So I called BGE. I got the automated system, and the automated system says, if you're experiencing a partial outage in your home, press 1. So I pressed 1. The next thing it says, if you're experiencing flickering lights in your home, press 1. So apparently, obviously, this is a problem. Okay, this is so much of a problem that they have automated their system to automatically ask you these questions because so many other people are having the same issue as well. The day that this all started happening, they had just done electrical work in the street, underground. And that same day, all this started happening. Okay, with all this flickering lights and partial outages, complete outages. It started that same day. So I called the automated system. Are your lights flickering? Press 1. Do you have a partial outage? Press 1. The next thing it said was, your electricity will be back on at 5:30 p.m. It was 2:30. They said, the automated system said, your electricity will be back on at 5:30 p.m. The time it took me to hang up the phone, walk down the steps, get to the bottom of the steps, my electricity was back on. So here's where I saved money. When this initially happened, I thought that this was something I had to call an electrician for. I thought it was something inside of our home that was causing this problem. But what let me know that it wasn't something inside the home was the fact that, number one, I heard other people, not in this area, but I heard about other people in the States here talking about partial outages and flickering lights. So I don't know what's happening, okay? The other thing that let me know that this might not have been something for an electrician, because I did call the electrician and he was coming. And then when I talked to the lady that night, and she said, yeah, your lights are out in your kitchen and your master bedroom. She told me herself, she said, oh, I know where you live. She said, I walk my dog past your house every day. You got the house with the such and such and this, and you got that. She said, I love your house. And I said, wow, oh, so you really do live in the neighborhood? Because she was telling me, about things I had on my porch, right? So she said, yeah, my lights flicker too, and I have power outages all the time. So I'm like, okay, so this isn't just happening to me. She let me know that this is happening at her house. And she said, oh, no, this is something going on in the neighborhood. She said, this has something to do with the reset that they just did. Keep that third eye open while I'm talking to you. She said it has something to do with the reset that they did. Okay. Anyway, so that let me know then, okay, so this is something to do with the power company. This is not something just in my home. This is not just something, for an electrician. This is something to do with the power company. Thanks be to Yahweh, because you know what an electrician costs, okay? You know what a plumber costs. So after that night, after that day when they said your power will be back on at 5:30 and it came on within like a minute, I was like, okay, so this is really truly their deal. So the final straw was this one particular day, the lights must have gone off and on. Like my husband had to go to the boxes like at least 4 times that day to restart everything. Okay, at least 4 times that day. And he was really frustrated. So I said, okay, I'm going to call BGE and let them know this is, y'all got to do something. Yeah, we can't keep running down to the box because there's a reason why the power is going off. Okay, something is wrong. That's what my husband said. He said, this is not normal. Something is wrong. And we should not have to be running to reset these lights like this 3 and 4 and 5 times a day. And I said, I agree. You're right. We shouldn't. So I called them on the phone. I said, look, they were supposed, now I had talked to them at 2:30 that morning. 2:30 a.m. that morning, I had talked to BG&E because the lights had gone off in the middle of the night. And they said, well, we're going to send somebody out there. They'll be there by 7. I said, okay, but let me just tell you, you all have said someone is going to be here at least a half a dozen times, and nobody has shown up. They said, oh, don't worry, somebody will be there. 7 o'clock came, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, and 4 p.m. came, and no one showed up. By this time, my husband is agitated. He's been down there to the boxes, up here to the box, at least 4 or 5 times, right? And so that's when I said, okay, I'm going to get on the phone again. I'm going to call him, let him know. You said someone will be here at 7 a.m. It's 4 p.m. Nobody's come. So he said, okay, we're sending somebody. And they send somebody. They send somebody out here with one of them big boy electrical trucks. I'm talking about you got to not step up on one step to get in the truck. You got to step up on 1, 2, 3 steps to get in the truck. Okay, one of them trucks with the big cherry picker on top. Okay, they sent the truck with the cherry picker. So the guy comes here. My husband takes him into the backyard. He's looking up at the wires attached to the house, and he's like, okay. He said, now I want to see the boxes. So, he comes into he just looked at the boxes in the basement in the crawl space, right? So he looks at those. He gets on the phone, and before he gets off the phone, here comes another big boy truck with the cherry picker, huge, massive truck, right? So, we don't know what they're doing. They haven't described anything. They haven't diagnosed anything. And so one guy, he could have pulled his truck down into my back into my backyard, but he probably would have hit a tree coming down the driveway because that truck is so big, especially with the cherry picker on the top. So what he had to do was he had to access my house from my neighbor's driveway. And I felt so bad because these people work so hard. And I was like, they're going to come home and that big truck's going to be in their driveway and they're going to be wanting to go in the house and they can't go in the driveway because the truck is there. So I called my neighbor immediately and I said, Lisa, I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said, I'm having problems at my house with my electricity. They're working on it and they're trying to fix it, but they had to pull down your driveway, but they're not, I'm hoping they're not going to be lost. She said, girl, don't worry about it. We got to look out for each other. You can't help what's going on with the electricity no more than I can. Don't worry about it. I said, okay, but I'm sorry. And I kept apologizing, right? So they were down one guy pulled his truck down into her driveway. And he pulled all the way to the back of the house, all the way as far as he could go so that he could get to the pole. That's one guy. Now the other guy is pulled. There's two of these trucks in her driveway. One is pulled all the way to the back as far as it can go. And the other one is sitting on the side of my house where the wires attached to my house. They're getting ready to do this electrical work, and I am so scared because they haven't turned off no electricity. I'm like, aren't y'all going to turn off the electricity before y'all start working? I don't want nobody to get barbecued on the side of my house. I don't like barbecue like that. I just don't like it. So, but anyway, they knew what they were doing. The electricity was shut off for about 30 seconds, and then it was turned back on. And then we waited a while, and then it got shut off again for another 30 seconds, and it got turned back on. It took them about an hour to do what they did. And what they did was they took down the wires that were attached to my house, that attached to the pole in the back of the house. They took those wires down and replaced them with brand new spanking wires. Because the wires that were attached to the pole were corroded and not molding, but they were he said they were corroded and they were cracking because they were so old. Who knows how long that wiring has been up there? Like I said, my house is over 100 years old. So who knows how long that wiring has been there? And because we're so close to the water, we get a lot of really high, very, very high winds here. And I'm talking about winds where I've had not porcelain, but cement flower pots flipped over by the wind. And I'm talking about these pots weigh at least a good 10 pounds, okay? I had my glass patio table flipped over. The wind flipped it over, and when it flipped, the glass top went flying and shattered into a million pieces. So I had suspected for a long time that those wires were loose, and it scared me to the point where I had called the electric company out here once before because, pardon me, just from me looking, I thought they looked like they weren't quite secure to the house. But he said the place where they were compromised at was at the pole, not at the house. But he said, I replaced both. And you could tell the wires look brand spanking new. So anyway, they replaced all the wiring that went from the pole to the house, did everything that they needed to do within less than maybe 45 minutes it took them. But they were quick, they were fast, they were efficient, they were thorough. This guy actually got in the cherry picker and looked at the wiring like this on the side of my house. Looked at the wiring attached to the pole like this, okay, to see what was going on. But the other guy, when he came, he's just down on the ground with his hands in his pocket. Oh, yeah, it look okay to me. Yeah, it look okay to me. Nope, they're fine, you know. What is that up there? It looks like a bird sitting up there. What is that? I know there's no bird in my house. Wait a minute. Hold on. What is that? Oh, it's a leaf. Okay. I got some flowers up on my curtains, and it looked like it was a bird sitting up there, but it was actually a leaf anyway. What would a bird be doing in my house? Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you about saving money is that if you have an electrical issue and if your lights are flickering at this time, because it's not just here. It's not just here. If your lights are flickering, if you're having partial outages in your home, contact your electrical provider instead of calling an electrician first. And yeah, that's what I would do. Okay, because because when I called the electrician, I told him what was going on, and he says, well, it's going to cost you $180 for me to come out just to assess what's going on. He said, now if there's work that needs to be done and I can do it, then that $180 gets absorbed into the cost that it's going to cost for the repair. But if there's work that I can't do, you still have to pay the $180 and you don't get that back if you don't use me, because either you can't use me because it's, the power company's issue or whatever. You lose that, 180. So I'm glad that I talked to that lady at the power company first, and she said to me, oh, this is something that's ongoing. It's happening all over the neighborhoods. So when she told me that, I was like, okay, so this is you all's issue. It's not something just in my house that I need an electrician for, and now I have to pay $180 just for him to come out and assess. So I was able to call him back and say, listen, this is a BGE issue. I won't need you to come out, but, thank you anyway. So. I wanted to tell you all that because, again, it's not just happening here in Maryland. It's happening in many different states where people are having partial outages and flickering lights. So if you've got that issue, contact your power company. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about, because this is my favorite thing now, okay? I love when my home, I love when my home smells good. And one way, this is just a little trick that I'm just sharing with you that I use to have my home smell really, really nice, is that I buy these, what do you call these, essential oils? And I buy all of my favorite essential oils. I don't know what your favorites are, but I would find some essential oils that you like and the fragrances that you prefer. And what I do is I take like 10 to 20 drops and I'll drop 20 drops in the sink in the kitchen. And the whole kitchen will be smelling like neroli or orange or lemongrass, So I put a few drops also in my commode in the toilet. After I flush the toilet, I'll put a few drops into the toilet, and the whole water closet or the whole bathroom is just lit up with lemongrass or lemongrass or clary sage or whatever fragrances that you like. So let me share with you the fragrances that I like. This is neroli, and I love neroli. Neroli is like an orange, but a very there's something else. I don't know what the upper notes are of neroli. Well, you can't have upper notes in an essential oil, can you? No, it's just one oil. So I'm sorry. Scratch what I just said about upper notes, lower notes. It's just neroli. That's all that's in this bottle. There's no upper, no lower notes. It's just neroli. Okay? I really like this fragrance because when we went to the Plaza Hotel, did I bring that lotion in here? Oh no. The Plaza Hotel uses Guerlain products. Um, I think Guerlain is a French cosmetic line. And their products, their shampoos and conditioners and lotions are at the Plaza Hotel. And when I stayed there and tried their shampoo, when I went in there to wash my hands, I was like, oh my goodness, that's neroli. I was like, I haven't smelled this in a long time. And I had to even think about it. I was like, what is that fragrance? It's orange like, but it's not quite, it's more than orange. It's something else. And I remembered neroli. So I like to season my bathroom, my bathroom sink, the commode with an essential oil. 10 to 20 drops after you use the restroom, and just let it float in the water. Let it sit in your sink. Let it, just marinate in your bathroom, in your kitchen sink, and it just will make your house smell so nice. Depending where you use it. If you use it in the kitchen, it's going to make the kitchen smell nice because your essential oils are very potent, and a little bit will do you. A little bit will do you. So I'm using, around my home, I use neroli. I don't use bergamot in the house. I love bergamot. I love the way it smells. Oh, that's so nice. Bergamot is citrusy. It's citrusy. I like that. Okay, so I use neroli to scent the sink and the commode. I got a big bottle of sweet orange. You can use that in your bath water. Now, I like Dr. Teal's, or I used to use Dr. Teal's, what do you call that? The Epsom salts. And I like the elderberry. Now, of course, elderberry smells nothing like what Dr. Teal's is putting in their elderberry Epsom salts, but it smells good. So I like it, so I buy it. They also have the orange Epsom salts, right? By Dr. Teal's. But I find 10 drops in the bathtub, and this is a lot less expensive than using the Dr. Teal's. Because see, when I buy Dr. Teal's, I'll use one bag in 2 baths. I'll use half the bag for one bath and the other half the bag for another bath because the tub is so big and I put so much water in it. I like enough, not too much, but I like enough of the Epsom salt in the bath water. So I was really spending a lot of money. I'd buy like 5 bags at a time, and in 2 weeks' time, those 5 bags are gone. So instead of using the Epsom salts with the orange fragrance that wafts, listen, when I take a bath, you can smell it downstairs in the foyer. Okay, that's how strong the fragrance is just from using a few drops. Not a few drops. I use about 20 drops because it's a big tub of the sweet orange in my bath water. And this lasts a lot longer. This will last me probably, I'd say 90 days, maybe. But it's a lot more cost effective to use the essential oil than to use the Epsom salt. Now, if you're sore, if you're achy, and you need that Epsom salt, well, that's one thing. But I was just doing the Epsom salts because I like the way the fragrance wafted through my bedroom, out into the hallway, down the steps, and into the foyer. And I always thought it was so nice that when people walked in the house, they would smell the sweet orange wafting all the way out of my bathroom. My bathroom is in the back of the house, the foyer is in the front of the house. So that just lets you know how potent these oils, these essential oils are, and how well the fragrance travels, throughout the house. So I also use lemongrass. I got a big bottle of lemongrass. I love lemongrass. It's sweet. It's lemony. It smells like, ooh, some kind of candy you would eat. I like that. I used to like ylang ylang, but they changed something in that, and I don't like that anymore. Something changed. I don't know. And geranium. Now, geranium, I thought I brought that oil in here, but I didn't. This is what I put in my oil for my skin. I use geranium oil for my skin. I was using this lemongrass oil in my moisturizer, my cream moisturizer. My my cream moisturizer doesn't have any fragrance, and I wanted to fragrance it, so I used the lemongrass. Glitter girl, hey sis, how you doing? Oh my gosh, we got a celebrity in the house, y'all. Hey sis, what is up? What is up? I'm so glad to see you here. I hope you are well. How's that little fat sweet potato of yours? Y'all, she got the cutest little fattest. He got jaws out to here. Them jaws go like this. That is the cutest little boy. He is so cute. Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming in, Glitter Girl. I appreciate you stopping through. I've been missing you, but sis, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. I understand. Sometimes we got to pull back a little bit, and then we can go full throttle for a little while, but then we got to pull back a little bit. Do what you got to do and take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of you, who gonna take care of you? No, I'm just kidding. I know your husband and your children are good to you. But yeah, we got to take care of ourselves. Yes, we do. I'm so glad to see you, girl. Oh, thank you. Oh, y'all are just making my head just let me push it back in. Let me push it back down because y'all are making my head swell. I don't know. I think I'm right cute for 60. I do. I think I look. Okay. Look, I am not conceited. I am not conceited, but look, I am happy. I am happy with what I see because I know some 60 people who are in their 60s, you know, and they look like they don't feel as vibrant as they should. And wow, that's all I can say. If you're here, you might as well feel good about being here. If you're here, you might as well make it do what it do while you can do what you can do, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. Oh my gosh. All my favorite people have stopped through here to see me tonight. I am so happy. I am just so happy. I appreciate y'all. I do. And look, what time is it? What time? Can somebody tell me what time it is? Because the iPad died. I don't feel like going upstairs. But I wanted to go upstairs because I wanted to get the charger. Because I wanted to show you all the transformation of where my hands were when I was eating those strawberries and how they have healed. I want to show y'all what they look like. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. I know that's right. It's 12:30 a.m. Okay. I want to just run upstairs and get the charger because I want to show y'all the before and after. Hold on one second. Oh, Lord. can't find the charger. Oh, it's cold down here. It's so toasty upstairs in the attic. Let me go upstairs. I can't find the charger to charge up this pad, and this is where the pictures are. I know this isn't the right charger because I tried to. The charger for this, it's one of those Android chargers. But this is not an Android. It looks like an Android charger, but it's not an Android charger. This is an iPad, but I don't know where to. And we only have one because everybody else has, Anyway, anyway, I wanted to show y'all. I think what I'll do is I'll do a short and I'll show y'all the transformation of, from what happened when I started eating all those strawberries. And I was eating a box, the box is about like that big. I don't know how many ounces it is, or I think it's like a pound or two. I was eating a pound of strawberries. No, it was like 2 pounds of strawberries every day. Every day. Read my lips. Every day I was eating 1 box of strawberries by myself. Every day. And like I said, because I wasn't able to eat, I'm not able to eat sugar. I felt like I needed, like it was owed to me. You owe me. I can't eat sugar anymore, so now I'm owed. At least I could be able to eat strawberries and bananas without a problem, but strawberries were a problem. So anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore because when I talk about the strawberries, it makes me think about the bananas. And here's the other thing. I eat about 4 bananas, sometimes 5 bananas a day. So I am not completely defunct or devoid of carbohydrates because I eat bananas. Okay? Sometimes I eat 4 a day. Sometimes I eat 5 a day. I'm trying to keep it at 3. Okay? But I look at it like this: when people make those smoothies, they be putting sometimes 3 and 4 bananas in their smoothies, don't they? I'm trying to justify. Look, nobody's answering. Don't you all usually put 3 to 4 to 5 bananas in your smoothies every day? Somebody, please. I know it's not just me. Look. If all I can eat in terms of something being sweet is bananas, just let me have that. Just can I have that? Can I have that, please? I got no place else to go, Sarge. Remember that from the movie An Officer and a Gentleman? I got no place else to go. See, I'm getting tired. It's time to go to bed. Look, I'm telling you all, after 9 o'clock, I'm done for. I'm surprised I have not nodded out on you all because I've nodded out on a live a couple of times, okay? I have no problems. Really, I don't have problems going to sleep. I fell asleep at the top of our winding stairwell one time. We were living in a house that had 2 sets of stairs. When you come in the house, you come in through the foyer, and there's a winding stairwell that takes you up to the bedrooms, right? And then you had a stairwell that you could access from the kitchen. If you were in the kitchen and you wanted to go up the back way, or you didn't want to go up those steps. And I was always afraid of walking down the winding stairwell in that house because once before I went to walk down some winding stairs, and when you walk down a winding stairwell, the stairs are cut at a funny angle because they're winding down, right? And I was walking down this winding stairwell one time, and I thought I had put my entire foot down on the step, but what I had done was I had on high heels. I had just put my high heel on the step. This part of my foot just went over, and when that foot went over, my whole body just tumbled right down the steps. So I always had a fear of the winding stairwell. So when we moved into this house with a winding stairwell, it was a big staircase too. It was really wide. And my fear was that I was going to fall down the winding stairwell. And you know how you have the little wooden dowels? You've got the railing that you hold on to, and then you've got the wooden dowels in between, then you've got the rail down at the bottom. My fear was that I was going to fall down the steps, bust through the dowels, and then fall 4 or 5 feet, 5 to 6 feet, 5 to 7 feet down to the floor in the foyer, right? So I never used the front steps because I was just afraid that I was going to fall, break open the dowels, and fall 6 or 7 feet to busting my head open. So I would never go down the front steps. I would always go down the back steps through the kitchen and then come through the foyer or wherever I was going, right? So one night, and like I said, I never used those stairs. I think the entire time we lived in that house, I must have went down those stairs a dozen times. That was it, out of the time we lived there. But this one night, and this is why I was talking about how easy it is for me to fall asleep. One night, I don't know what happened, but I was really tired. I had been up cleaning all day. It was late. And I kept saying, I'm going to bed. I'm just going to clean this one last thing. And that's, I think most people are like this. Once you start cleaning, you can't stop. That's how I am. Once I start, I can't stop. I got to keep, oh, there's something over there. I need to get that. Let me get that. Well, I might as well get that now because I am cleaning. And so I was really tired. It was really late. I should have been in bed. And I was so tired in that moment that I went to walk through the hallway upstairs. And the type of house it was, you could look down over the railing, or it wasn't a railing, it was a wall. You could look over the wall and look down into the foyer on this side, or if you were on this side, you could look down into the great room, right? And so I'm on this side of the great room. My kids are in the great room watching television. And I stopped there and I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop here for 1 second just because I'm just so tired. I don't know why I didn't. I was actually outside of my bedroom. It would have been just as easy for me to just go in my bedroom and sit down, but I stopped right at the top of those steps and I fell asleep. I don't know how long I was out for, but when I woke up, I was like this. I was leaning and almost I was close enough to the wall and the railing that I caught the railing and my hand slipped. And when it slipped, I reached out. It slipped down this way, and then I reached and went back like that and caught the railing. And I almost didn't catch it the second time, but I almost landed just what my fear was. I almost rolled down I would have rolled down the steps and kept going, broke through the dowels, and I would have been on my face. It would have been bad, I know. But that's how easy it is for me to fall asleep. If you can't sit me down anywhere, because if you sit me down, I will fall asleep. If I'm sitting and I'm not talking, I will fall asleep. I'll be just like this here. I have no problem. I'm just like that little baby doll. When you lay her down, her eyes closed, she go to sleep. I'm just like that baby doll. But I'll fall asleep. I haven't fallen asleep standing up that was the first. I never did that again. I was just really tired. But, and then my kids had issues. Two of my children, my sons, especially my oldest son, he used to be a sleepwalker. I don't know if he still sleepwalks, but that still bothers me. I didn't know what sleepwalking was until I had a sleepwalker. And my son would wake up in the middle of the night and he would come in my room and he would stand by my bed. And how I knew he was sleepwalking was two things. His eyes would be bloodshot red. That's the first sign for me to know he was walking in his sleep. The other sign was that he would start talking, but he wasn't saying anything coherent. He'd say like, the people trees in the yard picked up the fire truck. The wind has the clock. He would say he would say something crazy like that. And I'd be like, oh Really? Okay, because they say you're not supposed to startle them or, try to tell them, wake up, wake up, wake up. So I'd be like, oh, really? Okay, come on. And I just take him by his hand and walk him back into bed, put him in the bed, tuck him in, kiss him on his head. He'd be good for the rest of the night. But I didn't know what sleepwalking looked like until I had a child who sleepwalked. And then his brother, as he got a little bit older, he started doing it too. But my oldest child, he would do that he would do that like once a month, and that was just one time too many, because I was like, what if he walks out the house, what if he falls down the steps and busts his head? I was scared. I was like, do I have to lock this child in his room? I didn't have to do that, but whatever consciousness he had, he was able to get to my bedroom, and his room was on the other side of the house. My room was on this side. My room was on the east side. His room was on the west side, and he had to walk and then there was two bedrooms in between, and he had to walk down that long hallway. So whatever consciousness he had enough to know not to walk down the steps or fall down the steps, or I don't know. It is weird. Sleepwalking is weird. That's scary. Let me see if there's any more comments. Other than that, I don't have much else to talk about, and I don't want to hold you all too long. Who is that saying hi? Let me say hi to that person. Let Granny put her glasses on so I can see who that is, baby. Hold on. What is your name? What is your name? I saw you before. I came, I saw, I commented. Hello, how are you? Good to see you again. Nice to see you in the place. So that's it. That's all. I came and talked about everything I said I wanted to talk about, and then some. And I'm still stuck on the fact that it's in the 70s. It's 78 degrees in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Yes, it is. I want y'all to know that right now, because where I am here in Baltimore, it's about 14 degrees. And I needed to know. That it's 79 degrees in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Because that's where I need to be right now. I can't do too much of this cold. I can't take this cold weather. It's too much. It's too much. And I'm old. I'm feisty, but I'm old. Certain things I don't want to, I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful. I take it any way I get it. Any way you bless me, Lord. I ain't complaining, but I'm just saying, I ain't complaining. I'm just saying. Anyway, my house smells so good. It smells like neroli and orange right now. My favorite fragrances. Neroli. I got a big bottle of sweet orange. It smells so good in here. And I know when I have company, I don't have company that often, but when I do, I'm sure they would notice the pleasant aromas wafting through the air. So anyway, I don't have much else to say unless anybody else has anything they would like to say. Other than that, I am going to... Nobody chimed in on the whole banana thing. Okay, so I'm by myself. Ain't nobody else eating 4 and 5 bananas every day. Oh Lord, I gotta have something. And you know what? I'm looking at this as just a phase, because soon enough I'll get tired of eating the bananas. I will. It's gonna take a while, but I'll get tired and I'll stop. I never ate bananas like this before. I never ate 4 and 5 bananas a day, But the minute the minute I can't eat sugar like I used to, it's like, I gotta have something. I deserve something. Can I at least have a banana and some strawberries? I tried to do the bananas and apples. It was so delicious. It really was. And I want to tell you a quick story too. I did the bananas. I started out with bananas and peaches. Then I went to strawberries and bananas. But uh, when I did the bananas and apples, it was so delicious. It was so good. It really was. But it made when I ate the apples, I felt the same way I do when I try to eat table sugar or when I try to eat flour. I feel like something is on my chest pushing me back. And I feel like this all day, like something is like a weight is on my chest. That's how I feel. My blood pressure goes up to like 180 over 110 when I eat sugar, when I eat flour. Okay? And I'm not upset about it. I'm not. Who's screaming outside? I'm not upset at the fact that I can't eat sugar anymore because guess why? Sugar is not good for me. It's not good for a lot of us, you know? And here's the thing, sugar is in everything, just about everything, even down to the meat that we eat. You know, they're pumping extra sugar into a lot of the fruit that we eat because a lot of the fruit that we eat is unnaturally sweet. Grapes should not be that sweet. Those strawberries, those dream berries that I ate a couple of weeks ago should not be that sweet. Look, sugar is in just about everything that we eat. Just about everything that we eat. And if it's not in what we eat, it turns into sugar as it metabolizes in our bodies. That's what happens with wheat. That's what happens with potatoes and rice. It metabolizes into sugar. This is a story I want to tell you real quick. When I was a little girl, I used to have to ride a bus, and I don't know why I was on this school bus. I can't remember if I was going to camp. I think I was going to camp at the time. And sometimes we would have to get off that bus and go into this lady's house and wait for another bus to pick us up. Sometimes, and it was a regular thing. It was like on certain days we had to stay at her house for like, it was only for a short time. It was like for 20, 30 minutes. And then another bus would come and take us to wherever we were going, right? And I remembered when I would go in her house, there was this aroma. And it was a sweet smell. And it was something she was cooking. And of course, you know, I always had a full breakfast before I went to school. My mother and my grandmother always made sure that I had a full breakfast, okay? But when I got to this lady's house, there was something she was cooking and it smelled so sweet. And one day I got to see what it was she was cooking, but I couldn't identify it. It was nothing. It looked like nothing I had ever seen before. You know what I realized it was? It smelled so sweet, and that the sweet the aroma of this sweetness was like something I had never smelled before, and I was upset. I was That's the best word I can use. I was upset that she was cooking something that smelled so good, and I was never offered any, and I never got to taste what it was. Until about 3 months ago, until about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months ago, I got to taste what it was. You know what it was? Fried bananas. Bananas flambe. Bananas Foster. That's what it was. She was making the kids that had to come to her house and eat breakfast, she was making them fried bananas in the morning. And it dawned on me when I was making these banana flambés one day, and I'm like, there's that fragrance again. Where do I know that fragrance from? Why do I'm like, I know I'm cooking bananas, but I've smelled this somewhere before. And then I remembered this was that fragrance that I used to smell when I used to have to go to that lady's house and wait for the bus. And I was so upset and so angry that she was cooking whatever she was cooking, and I didn't know what it was. Number one, that made me mad because I didn't know what it was. Number two, it smelled so good and I never got any. And these kids were getting some for breakfast and I wasn't getting any of whatever this thing was. And then just a couple of days ago, I'm making the banana flambe. And I'm like, why do I know this fragrance? Why do I know this aroma? I have smelled these fried bananas, banana flambe, whatever you want to call it. I have smelled this before, but where was this? And then I remembered. I smelled this at that lady's house and I was mad because I never got to taste it. It smelled so good that it was like I could almost taste it. It smelled so sweet and so good. And I was so upset because I never got any. But ain't it funny how things will come back to you, things will repeat, and what you may have not have been able to partake in at that particular moment in life, it'll come back around. Isn't that something? Something philosophical about that, but I can't tell you what it is. I'm not that deep. I'm not that deep, so I can't tell you the philosophical meaning behind all that I just shared with you, but it was important to me. And it meant something to me when, here I am at the age of 60. I was only like 8 years old at the time when that happened. And here it comes back around again, and I'm really tasting those bananas that I couldn't have none of. But I was in no way depraved because when I was a little girl, my grandmother would get up early in the morning. I mean, the sun wouldn't even be up yet. And my grandmother would get up, start peeling apples, or a lot of times she didn't peel apples. Let me take that back. My grandmother would get up before the sun came up and she would start cutting apples, is what I wanted to say. Because my grandmother used to make fried apples for me just about every morning because she knew how much I loved fried apples. So, and it really helped my mom out because my mom had, between making sure that I was clean, dressed, and ready and had everything I needed for school, my mother was also cooking breakfast alongside my grandmother. Now, my grandmother would be frying the apples. She would have her apples done before my mom got in the kitchen so that they weren't bumping into or, causing each other a problem in the kitchen. So my grandmother would get up first. She would make them fried apples, right? And she put them in a bowl and put a top on it. And then my mother would come down in the kitchen and she would make me toast, a cup of Lipton tea, and she would make scrapple or sausage or bacon. And the scrapple or the sausage or the bacon would go on my toast. And I would take my she would give me one or the other meat. It was either sausage, bacon, or scrapple, one or the other, not all three, right? And so if it was sausage, the link sausage, I loved the link. I didn't like the patties, but I loved the link sausage. And so she would toast my bread for me to perfection. I mean, perfectly golden brown. I didn't want my toast black. Perfectly golden brown, butter, and then I put my 3 pieces of sausage on there, and it was 1 piece of toast, 3 pieces of sausage, no bigger than my finger, right? 3 pieces of sausage on that 1 piece of toast. Fold the bread over on it, dip it into my tea, and bite it and eat it. Oh gosh, sausage, toast, butter, and tea, Lipton tea. That was my favorite breakfast. And then I love scrapple. And what else did I say? Bacon. I love my bacon too. But my favorite was the link sausage. When I found out what scrapple was, I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. That's what my granddaughter says. If you ask her if she wants something, my little kitty pop, if you ask her if she wants something, she'll say, no, thank you. Real sweet, right? I say, Kitty, do you want to try this? No, thank you. And then I'll say, oh, come on, try it. And she'll say, no, thank you. Like, I done told you. My answer's not changing. Don't ask me again. She's so funny. My grandbabies are so funny. I miss my grandbabies so bad. I do. even when their mom and dad would come to the house and pick them up, they wouldn't have even pulled out the driveway yet. And I'd be crying, oh, I miss my grandbabies. My grandbabies are the best. They are the best. My grandbabies are the best. The best. But anyway, that was my story about that. So I am going to sign off, sign out. I'm going downstairs to get me some bananas. I had 4 today already. But it's technically Sunday. So I'm just having bananas early for Sunday. That's what I'm doing. Did I mess up my brows? I don't know. So, that's it. That's all. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I really do. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for spending time in space. I appreciate you. I really, really do. You know what I would like to do is, what do they call it? Going live with friends. I think that's such a cool idea. I like that. So maybe I will put that. I started to do it tonight, but I wasn't really sure if, anybody was going to come in. And I've never used the feature before. So, the people that have channels, I don't have a problem, like Glitter Girl and Brown Skin and oh goodness, I know they have channels, so I'm comfortable, with sending an invite out to Glitter Girl, Brown Skin. This is my first time meeting Jovetta, but I would love to talk to Jovetta as well because, she's doing some good things in the community. Kendrick, he does videos, and, I'd love to have him come up on, a live. Let's see who else was here on this one because I had to start over. This was actually the part 2. And Nikki Naki, I know Nikki has a channel, I think. I don't know if she does videos. I mean, of course she has a channel, but I'm not sure. I think Nikki does channels. I'm channels. I think Nikki does videos. I think. But yeah, I'd be glad to talk to anybody that wanted to pop up. So maybe on the next live that I do, it'll be a while, I guess, before I come back on live because I just don't have a whole lot that I want to bring to the platform. If I do a new intro, of course, I'll present it, and an outro, I'll present it, and of course, because you all are subscribed to me, you'll be the first to know if and when I change the name of my channel. I think it's going to be 60 Sweet and Sassy. No, 60 Fresh and Sassy. Let me write that down. 60 Fresh and Sassy. Okay. So anyway, I'm sorry for the sniffles. It's something in this room because when I walked upstairs to go get the charger, my nose just opened right up. So it it feels like something is in my throat. I don't know what's going on in here. Maybe the vent needs to be changed. See, there it goes again. And I was fine when I went upstairs. As soon as I came back down here, my nose goes haywire, gets stopped up. But anyway, I am everything fresh and sassy. Stay close, stay tuned. I'll see you when I see you. Yahweh willing. Sawubona emgani nangalinga langa ubupsuku no beteng boyan visiswano no tolo no tando dentanda no kemakai engi banga ukuti kuyoneza engambama.